Guys, give a special round of applause for this family. Let them know they're not alone. That we stand with them, and we're going to keep standing with them. And we're going to fight to get justice for Jabari. Justice for Jabari. Justice for Jabari. Justice for Jabari. Say his name. Say his name. Say his name. Thank you.
You woke? Time to get up. No Speed Limit Podcast. I'm your host, Alvin. I just want to say one thing. I enjoy doing this every day. I hope you also enjoy it. Just make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. So what we're doing here is we're talking about the Jabari Nicholes case. Last week I did a brief summary of the Jabari Nicholes case because I had some other things that I also talked about. But I did want to go ahead and take up that case again. I won't go and rehash the unaliving of Jabari Nicholes by the Homewood Police. But the family has hired Ben Crump as their attorney. And they've held a press conference because, as happens often in these cases, the families held their own independent autopsy of the body. Once again, the biggest issue here with the Homewood Police is that there is supposedly body cam footage of the particular incident that happened with Jabari, and it has not been released. Apparently, Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, is holding on to that video as they investigate the case. Now, I will let you listen to a little bit more of the news conference.
Before we get to showing the diagrams and the anatomical models to present the preliminary findings, these are the preliminary findings of the independent autopsy that was retained by the family. And I draw a specific emphasis that it is a preliminary finding because we don't have all the evidence. And you cannot draw conclusions until you get all of the evidence. And so we need to see the video before we can have conclusions. This helps the family at least have some questions answered, but it's not conclusive yet because we don't have the video.
Now, before we get into all the details of this case, let me tell you a lot about what's going on in Alabama. So, last year, approximately a year ago, in the city of Decatur, Alabama, a young man by the name of Stephen Perkins was walking outside of his house. He came out of his house with a gun because he thought someone was stealing his car. Supposedly, these were repossessed agents, and they had two police officers with them. The repossessed agents saw Stephen Perkins come out the door, and they opened fire on them. In particular, this one officer, Mac Marquette, he was charged with murder in the case. So with him being charged with murder in the case, Matt Marquette tried to appeal to the immunity of this based on staying your ground. Said that he had a reasonable reason why he was shooting this. As of last week, Steve Marshall, our Attorney General, says that he did not, and this is according to AL.com, and it's on the AP Wire as well, that Matt Marquette he failed to show a clear legal right to prosecution immunity when he fatally shot Stephen Perkins on September 29th. And this is what the courts had already said. So shortly after, before 2 a.m., Marquette and two other officers accompanied the tow truck, and again, this is on AL.com and on the AP Wire, to repossess Perkins' pickup truck at his home in Decatur. When Perkins emerged from his house, pointing a gun at the truck driver, Marquette fired 18 bullets. Then, 2 seconds after the officers emerged from a concealed position and identified themselves as law enforcement, according to body camera footage. In other words, it is required by law for policemen to acknowledge who they are before they even open fire on anybody. They have to get a certain record. They did not do any of these things. Perkins, as far as he thought somebody was stealing his truck, so he was coming out of the house as an armed man. This is Alabama, it's an open carry place. He was defending his property. Yet these two police officers decided to open fire on him. And the reason I'm bringing up this case is because here comes the Jabari Nicholes situation in the middle of all of this. And this was a controversial case. There's a lot of Justice for Perkins T-shirts and billboards and all those things going on. And hopefully he will get justice for this. Steve Marshall is making sure that this case is being prosecuted. And this comes from a red MAGA state. This case was investigated, and it's obvious that it is a case of murder. So, again, this person is accused of murder. He has not been convicted yet, but it has deserved to go to trial. How that result comes out, we shall see. But we'll go on and let's continue watching a little bit more of the news conference so you can get a little bit more details about what they're doing there.
Hey, give us the evidence. Show us the video. All right, today we're going to be announcing some preliminary findings, but we can't do anything or have any sort of conclusions until we get all the pieces of evidence. And there's a key piece of evidence that's being held from us, and that's the video footage. We filed a petition in the court. As you all know, City of Homewood has replied to that, and we'll be filing our responses soon. And in their response, they essentially said that ALEA, the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency, is the custodian of the video. All right, and we know that. We know that they're the ones that have been blocking Homewood from allowing us to see that. But our petition covers much more than that. We know that there's all kinds of video footage in that park. All right. We want to see that evidence. We want to know the name of this officer. We want to know the IOS and the incident reports. All those things are asked for in our petition. So the video footage is one thing, and believe me, it's the main thing, and it's something that the family deserves to see. If any of us were in this situation, and I can imagine burying one of my sons, but if any of us were in this situation, the only right thing to do, the only just thing to do, the only transparent thing to do would be to show the family what happened in his last moments. That's what we're asking for. And so, again, we're setting our petition for a hearing next month. But we will continue, all of us lawyers here will continue to fight for what it is that we believe the people's family deserves, and that's transparency.
Okay, that's
justice.
something new. That there's possibly other videos from that park. In other words, from what I understand, there was only the body cam footage, but there are usually in many of the parks in Birmingham and Homewood, Alabama, there are video cams. This may have been even how this officer knew that Jabari and his girlfriend or his friend was there in the park. So it's necessary that we find out the information on those tapes to see what they say compared to what body cam footage say. And yes, it would be nice if it also has audio so we can hear what's being said. Now, the next part I'm going to show you may be a little disturbing to some people in the audience, but this was what was revealed at this news conference. I have edited this out. I didn't want to show the whole 20 minutes, so I have edited some of the stuff out, but I want to show you what the evidence they're about to show. And I think this is vital to understanding why we're looking for justice for Jabari.
And so we would imagine that they had the video and they had the body to do the autopsy. We didn't have that. We had a key piece, but it wasn't all the pieces. We had Jabari's body that they examined, and these were her findings. And Eric, we're going to have you start to talk just a minute, but it's very clear to us when you look at this that her preliminary findings is that the cause of death, as we all knew, was from a gunshot wound. And she concludes that the gunshot wound in her preliminary finding, based on the evidence she had before her, was that it was a shot to the back. And that's why we have to get the video, because we need to know if, based on her preliminary finding, why was Jabari shot in the back. We need to know if there are any other shots fired. That's why we need to see the video, hear the audio. We need to know why, if there is any reason to justify shooting a person in the back. Attorney Park, when we were little, it's one of the most cowardly things you could ever do, to shoot a person in the back. So we need to know if there's additional information. Aaliyah has all the information. This family is grasping at straws, trying to get
Okay,
an
like
answer.
I said, that could be disturbing to some people to hear what he had to say in that particular situation, but I apologize for that. But it's unnecessary when we're talking about a man being unalive, who was unalive by being shot in the back. Here's the question we had. Where's the bullet? Because that's something that Ben Crump goes on to talk about here. It's obvious that Aaliyah, if this bullet did not exit the body, as the forensics expert said. And again, all this information is preliminary. They do not have all the evidence. They do not have everything. They just have what she did. And in fact, this autopsy was the second autopsy. And sometimes the second autopsy can be difficult. We don't even know if he actually had marijuana in his system. Toxicology reports have not come back. Haven't said anything about that. when I was listening to this, they did not say anything about this. Now I will go on and let you listen to a little more of that. There's an attorney who's got a few more details about what they were doing, but at the same time, like I said, the information here basically tells you up front that, you know, it gets suspicious. If you see somebody shot in the back, you say, if you felt your life was threatened and the person turned the other way, you know, was he reaching for a gun? What? Apparently this officer had fell on the ground. Maybe he was excited by the fact that he fell, or maybe he tripped, maybe he was pushed down. We don't know. According to him, he was pushed down. In the heat of the moment, people can forget things, but if we can see the video, any of the video, maybe we can get a true story of what really happened. That's what we need. We need evidence to prove something. The family needs to see the video. Even if you can't tell, you know, protecting the officer and all these things. Here's another thing. When we see shows like The First 48, we hear about how quickly those investigations go. So you say within 48 hours they get somebody, that person is arrested and in jail for the crime. Police, on the other hand, when they shoot somebody, it's kind of like a on-the-job thing. So what they do is, this person goes on leave of absence, get paid while they're on leave of absence. And then all this huge investigation goes on. Some of it takes for months. Like I said, this case in Decatur is just now getting around to getting the trial and all those other things. Sometimes it takes even longer than that once you've even decided this person is committing murder. It might be 3 or 4 years before the case even goes to trial. But in the case of this, they'll investigate. It'll be 6, 7, 8, 9 months. It always makes me wonder, when you do a murder case for anybody else, Joe Blow on the street, why does it take 48 hours? And when a policeman kills somebody, you got video camera footage, you have audio, you take 6, 7, 8 months. You even have an eyewitness. So I have a lot of questions that just aren't being answered right now. As far as I'm concerned, none of the questions I have are being answered, and apparently the family feels that none of their questions are being answered. But let's go on and listen to a little bit more.
Thanks everybody for being here. My name's Eric Kurtz. These cases, me and Mr. Crump do these all over the country, and they're an uphill battle. And the reason why they're an uphill battle is because investigations regarding law enforcement, done by law enforcement, has a natural bias, doesn't it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it does. Now, society is judged by how the most powerful treat the most vulnerable. And in this situation, young Mr. Peoples was the most vulnerable. So let me tell you what the medical examiner in Atlanta said, the top medical examiner, or at least one of the top medical examiners in the country. She said, based on the preliminary information, this sketch appears to show a possible entry of a gun wound right there. We need the bullet. We need to know where the bullet is because it's not in the body. We have questions, and we respectfully, as respectful as we can, ask the law enforcement here to share what they know, because transparency is what it's all about. And I'm proud to be able to represent the family of Mr. Crump and these fine other attorneys. And if there's any questions later on, feel free to ask me about it.
Can you explain a bit about the bullet?
Okay, so we don't want to be a dead horse. We won't keep saying the same thing over and again. It's just basically this. The family needs to see the videotape. The lawyers need to see the videotape. There's also other evidence that's needed. If there's other videotapes, if there's other witnesses, people need to be able to sit down and talk to these folks. The family also has to talk to the person that may have unalived their son. We need to know the thought process of that person. We need to know where the bullet is. We got a lot of questions. That's the answer for the family. Now, for me, I'm fine. I'm fine as long as the family gets the answer. Otherwise, I'm not fine at all. So I think it's important that we give the family what they need. In fact, let me let you listen to what the family has to say.
The answers. We have his mother, Vivian Peoples, and his father, William Peoples. Take your time.
We buried our child Saturday, and we buried him Saturday, and it's hard. It's hard to even think about burying your child. It's hard about ever. You want your child to bury you. You don't want you had to bury your child. No parent, no way, no parent. Only thing we want to do is see the video. We want to see the video. Just show us what happened to our child, please.
Show the
Show the
video.
video, please. No child.
So even I'm going to ask you to continue to pray for the Nicholes family, for his mother and his father, his sisters and brothers. I didn't show them here, but they are also there. Please make sure that you pray for this family. and join them in their fight for justice. If you are in Alabama, make sure that you contact the Steve Marshall's office and ask that the video be released. If you live in Homewood, come out to a protest if they have a protest in the area. I'm going to try to get out there myself. I know you don't see me very often, but I'm going to try to get out there myself. I think it's important that this family gets justice. I pray for the family. I pray for them in their loss. I've never lost a child. I lost family members, so I know that there's pain that comes when you lose a close family member. And so I know that there's pain that they feel. This is their child, the person, and I know the father, you think you can protect your children from everything, and you can't. So I know there's pain here and there's anguish, but it would be great to give them closure. If their son didn't do anything at all, we need to give him justice so we would know that this child did not do the things that this particular officer is saying. He wasn't smoking marijuana. He did not have access to a gun. We need to know if that's true or not. That's what we need to know. We know nothing right now. Aaliyah is holding on to this tape. We've had other cases. Like I said, there was a case in Homewood where a young lady unalived herself. That particular case, they released the video. There was another case in the city next door in Hoover where a gentleman was unalived by the Hoover police. And to justify what was done by the Hoover police, they released a video in that case. And I do believe that Steve Marshall was the Attorney General in both of those cases. Maybe one of those he wasn't, but I believe he was the Attorney General in both of those cases. Aaliyah was involved in both of those cases. And it is important that we get this information. Important that we get this information, have this information out. Well, folks, I'm all out of time. Again, remember to like, share, and subscribe. You guys have a wonderful day. Peace.
You have been listening to Thought You Were Woke No Speed Limit Podcast.